Hi guys, my name is Brandon.
And I'm Christine, and we're the Rabes. This is our story.
So starting in 2007, that's when Christine and I met. We dated for a while, and during that season we were going to church together. We were kind of learning about Christ. We were joining different ministries. We were in Kids Zone for quite a while. We eventually became Kids Zone directors, and in 2015 we got engaged. A year after that we got married, and then a year after that we had our first daughter, Bella.
When Bella turned 2, we wanted to add to the family, and God blessed us. In July of 2019, we conceived and we learned he was going to be a boy. We were so excited. Overall, it was a very smooth pregnancy. We had big goals for 2020. Baby was coming. We bought our first investment property. The photography business was picking up, and we were learning more about ourselves through personal development. Joining life groups and getting connected, diving more into the Bible, and we were just very excited to see where this year was going to bring us. And then COVID-19 happened, and we didn't realize how crazy it was going to be, or we didn't even realize it was going to become a pandemic. I did start to become concerned for me and my family because I was considered in the high-risk category due to my pregnancy. We prayed about health, and God took care of us. On Sunday, March 29, I started to feel contractions, and so I woke Brandon up and I told him that I believed that today was the day that we were going to meet our son.
Yeah, I had just started paternity leave on that Friday, and then on Sunday, which is the day he was born, that's when we headed out to the hospital. And on the way there I was kind of excited. I was thinking, man, I just started leave, I'm gonna have all this time off to spend with the family, and I can maximize my time. And we were excited, and everything was just kind of falling into place. And we get to the hospital, and of course they have the different things going on. They were taking temperatures, they were giving us stickers and wristbands and social distancing the lobby. And it was a lot different from when we had Bella, and without all of the restrictions. So that was kind of different, but that's just how things were, so we had to kind of go with it. We're still excited, right? We're still gonna welcome a baby, and our world was gonna change again. And during that time, we found out that baby wasn't in the best position. He was getting stressed out in there. Christine was going through a lot of pain, and what the doctor did was he punctured Christine's water bag to kind of just speed things up. And doing so, sure enough, baby was stressed because some waste came out. And during that time, he had swallowed that waste, and it got into his lungs and just really affected everything.
I remembered there were a lot of doctors around us, and the room was just very busy. And Caleb, he was placed onto my chest, and I was worried because he did seem a little limp and he wasn't crying at all. So they took him to his warmer and they were assessing him, and sure enough, out of the corner of my eye, I could see doctors pumping oxygen into his lungs and trying to suction out whatever fluid that they could remove. My heart was broken, and I felt empty, and I wanted to do more, but I couldn't. God would reveal to me that by leaning on him, that he was going to move mountains, and what looked impossible to my eyes was going to be possible through him in my faith. I just prayed, and I prayed a miracle over my son. I prayed that God would guide Brandon and I. Most importantly, that God's will was going to be done through Caleb.
Yeah, on the way to the NICU, I was following the doctors, and they were focused on him and doing what they needed to do, but not a lot of talking. And I didn't want to ask what was going on. To be honest, I was afraid to know what was going on. I was contemplating the fact that I might have to walk back to Christine's room to let her know that Caleb went to be with the Lord, and it's tough.
So that evening, I went to the NICU room alone, and nothing could prepare me for what I would encounter when I walked into his room. And it was just an overwhelming feeling. He was hooked up to all these machines, and I couldn't look at him. And it was just a scary sight overall. His doctor pulled me over to the side and he just told me that Caleb was very, very sick. The amount of meconium that he had swallowed was enough to make him ill, and he couldn't breathe on his own, so he needed this extra support and he needed all this medication to pretty much make him comfortable. Yeah, it was just a tough pill to swallow. When we got back to our room, I started doing all this research, and I came across this article that mentioned that babies who were born with meconium aspiration syndrome, which is what Caleb has, that babies have actually died from it. And I had to take a step back and I had to ask the Lord where my heart was, and I had to center my focus back on Him. As afraid as we were, Brandon and I, we prayed and we reached out to our friends, family, our church family, and we asked for prayer.
The support was really overwhelming. And we're so grateful for all the thoughts and prayers. And getting messages from people saying that they're thinking of us, they're praying for Caleb. I mean, there are people that we've never even met in person yet because of the whole restrictions and everything. Like, they were saying they're praying for us. I mean, it was really nice, it was really good. We felt connected amidst the not being connected to others. Caleb was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and in the moment it didn't seem right, but looking back, I mean, that gave us time to prep Bella, get her ready to welcome home a baby brother. It gave us time to connect and have time alone. It was a blessing that he was in the hospital, as funny as that sounds, and especially that's when Corona really spiked up in April, and what better place for him to be than in a hospital with the nurses and the staff and the equipment and whatnot, just to kind of be safe.
After 2 weeks of Caleb being at the hospital, he made a full recovery, and we brought him home on Easter Sunday. He impressed his doctors and his NICU nurses with every milestone, and all the equipment just slowly started to disappear to where it was just him in his bassinet. And it was a blessing to walk in every single day and witness that God was just orchestrating everything for His glory and restoring Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at him now, I mean, he's 4 months old now, he's 16 pounds, and you wouldn't even know that he had gone through all that in the beginning of his life. He's so strong, he's healthy, so blessed that he's here with us, and he's taught us so much in just his short life being here. It's unreal.
We are so blessed that we have Christ in our lives. We were trusting what the doctors were saying, but we believed that God was going to make a miracle, and He did. And even though it was a tough and scary time, and despite this year being challenging and just so different, it didn't mean that we need to miss the goodness of God. He was with us the whole time and was in complete control. God is so good.